the way, the Bucks are one of 2 teams in the league that didn't lose consecutive home games this season, joining the Blazers in jeopardy of that against the C's. By the way, 7 of 21 in Game 1. In the offseason, while the coaching staff and his teammates were gone for the night, one of the best players on the planet would come back, flip the lights on in the gym, and put up jumpers. For years, when no one was looking or paying attention to a skinny kid from Greece, Giannis was working. Now, after struggling in Game 1 against the Celtics, the world is waiting to see how the MVP candidate will figure out the next level of playoff basketball. Kobe Bryant goes in further detail on what Giannis is facing against that Boston defense.
On this episode of Detail, we'll take a look at Giannis Antetokounmpo. On this action here, I'd look to pull Ilyasova out. Now, you know you're going to set this screen in this manner, right? You come up on Giannis's right side, and then you flip the screen to Giannis's left side, and now he attacks off the dribble. So you know this is happening. The reason why Morris can be so aggressive here at the nails is because he knows he's got Brown behind him to cover on his rotation, and then Hayward would then pull down and cover Ilyasova for Brown. So on this action here, before Giannis takes this dribble here, Ilyasova knows they're about to flip the angle of the screen. He should clear out to the corner, and we all slide up. Ilyasova slides corner slides up, and now you vacate this short porch here. And so now when he comes off, and Morris does not know behind him that this side is clear. Now he's plugging up the nail here, and now there's a kick there for a shot. Because right now, if he kicks the ball now, then there's Brown. There's Brown on his rotation. There's Brown on a high closeout. It's a much tougher shot. For more analysis, go to Detail on ESPN+.
Michael Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith rejoin us now live from Oracle as we get set for Warriors-Rockets Game 2. But first, we are actually going to start talking about Milwaukee, where Kobe left off, guys. Let's give credit where credit's due, because Boston did a great job on Giannis, and he said he watched the film. We know how competitive he is, and he struggled in Game 1. What are you expecting from Giannis tonight?
Well, first of all, what I'm expecting from Giannis is to dominate in the interior, not to allow Al Horford to take advantage of him in the fashion that he took advantage of him in Game 1. But to me, it doesn't really come down to Giannis, Michael Wilbon. It comes down to those supplementary parts he's got around him, those perimeter shooters that showed up throughout the season but didn't show up in Game 1. Eric Bledsoe didn't show up. Brooks Lopez didn't show up. Middleton didn't show up. Cardington didn't show up. I mean, they've got to do something from the perimeter in order to beat Boston in Game 2, because this is a must-win situation for the Milwaukee Bucks. They've got to win Game 2. Mike, what do you think?
I'll tell you what the something is. Pass the basketball. They didn't do any of that. They all thought they were James Harden in Game 1. And with too much ISO basketball, that's not what Milwaukee did during the regular season. And when you don't have movement, when it's that stagnant, then it's easier to guard Giannis. And we know that Al Horford can guard a lot of people, and particularly when there's that sort of stagnant behavior out of the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think that, yes, they can play harder, but it's not just forced. Play smarter, pass the basketball, move the bodies, and stay away from ISO basketball, which they got far deep into a habit of in Game 1.
Let me go first take on you. We know what they should do, Mike Wilbon. Are they going to do it?
Yeah. They're going to do it tonight. Stephen?
Okay.
If they don't figure this out, this is not hard to figure out either.
If they don't win Game 2, they may get swept.
Yes, and they were looking at a short series, 4 or 5 games, if they don't win tonight. So I don't see them taking 2 games in Boston. So I think Milwaukee bounces back tonight. It starts with playing harder, but there's a lot more involved.
Mike Wilbon's got Milwaukee in Game 2. I've got Milwaukee in Game 2. Let's move on to the Western Conference semifinals. Houston, Golden State. You've heard all of this chitter-chattering about officiating.
No.
Do you feel it has been overblown? And how do you think it has made the Houston Rockets look?
I know you were a young pup
when
Pat Riley and Phil Jackson used to engage in this sort of stuff.
That's right.
Every
I had an afro
game
back then
of
too.
every series, I had actual hair that they played in. So this is not new. But it's different now with social media and the 24-hour news cycle and the back and forth. And I think that Houston, I'm expecting the Rockets to play a great game tonight. They're going to need to. But if they come out and all they do is moan and complain about the officiating, get into it with Scott Foster, and get distracted, Stephen A., we could be looking at a double-digit victory for the Warriors. I don't expect that, but the Rockets, it's time to shut up and put up.
Let me share this with you. The fact that Scott Foster's name has been brought up so much leading into this game, to me, is a detriment to the Houston Rockets. Here's why. Because he wasn't there in game one when you were complaining about the officials. So instead of complaining about one particular official that the eye of the storm is going to be on and fall upon, now we're looking at you not against Scott Foster, but you against the officiating, because so much has been made about you officiating that took place in game one. Nevertheless, Kevin Durant, for the last 5 games, 40 points. 55% shooting, 40% from three-point range, 91% from the free throw line. If anything, he's more of a problem for you than the free throws. So the Houston Rockets not talking about stopping him, to me, spells doom. That's why I'm going with the Warriors in game 2, and that is that for me. What about you?
I think that the fact that Klay Thompson and Steph Curry did not have big setbacks in terms of physically, in terms of their ankle situations in game 1, that obviously goes in Golden State's favor, and they're already one up. But you know what, Stephen? I expected when we came into this series drama and contentiousness. The post-game of game 1 was as contentious as the game.
That's right.
I expect the Rockets to bounce back and to win this game, to even the series, and then we start to get the drama that was produced last year. We'll start to get it in game 3 when this thing swings to Houston. 1-1 after tonight.
Mike Wilbon disagrees with me. Pardon the interruption.
I'm sort of out on a limb.
Pun intended.
Me and Scott Foster.
Back to you guys.
By the way, KD needs 39 points tonight to average 40 over a 6-game stretch in the postseason. Nobody's done that since LeBron back in 2009. If KD gets 39 points, yeah, I think you guys are wrong. I think Wilbon's wrong. We shall see, guys. Enjoy the festivities. Good night, Oracle. Bye.
The timing of the PTI graphic right there when he brought it up is great. Still to come, we bring you the top 10 plays.
So heated. Plain and simple, the stakes have been high when they faced off over the last few years. But nothing compares to the deciding Game 7 from last year's Western Conference Finals. Who knows what could have been if Chris Paul had been healthy enough to play? And according to the Rockets, who knows what could have been if the officiating had been better? That's why Houston actually sent a report to the league detailing 81 potential missed calls and non-calls from Game 7. 81, which they say cost them a total of 18.6 points. And remember, they lost by 9. Here are 4 of those 81. Steph Curry driving on the right side, and you see Gerald Green, the Rocket, defending Curry, placed his arm on Curry's hip as Curry rose for a layup. That was a no call. Rockets counted that as a mistake, costing the Warriors actually 1.8 points. Another landing spot issue here. Harden misses the 3, and you see Jordan Bell leaping into his landing space. Referees did not call a foul. The league subsequently said afterwards they should have. Harden, D'Antoni not happy with the no call. Third quarter, Kevon Looney rebounds a Klay Thompson miss, and as Looney goes up for the putback, Gordon made some contact that went uncalled. And you see the following plays here, some contact with Looney's arm and upper body did Harden. Again, no call made. This led to a KD3. Houston concluded that non-call cost them 2 points. And then late in the third, Ariza, attempting a runner from just the outside the restricted area, made contact with Curry, who tried to draw a charge. No call made. The league's report was that it was a potential infraction. Houston counted as 1.7 lost points. Rockets would lose Game 7. That's just 4 of the 81 plays they say cost them a trip to the NBA Finals. Here's Brian Windhorst.
The Houston Rockets have a system designed by GM Daryl Morey. Find the inefficiencies and exploit them. They've done this for years with the three-pointer, with roster moves, and with referees. This is the game within the game the Rockets are playing with the Warriors and the entire NBA in these playoffs. There's a vagueness in the rules, like how much room you have to give a three-point shooter to land. There are certain plays, like swinging your arms into a defender's hands, that can increase the chances of a whistle. With a flexible, fearless, and fantastic free throw shooter named James Harden as the franchise player, this strategy makes great sense. This week they deployed a new weapon revealed in an audit obtained by ESPN of a game that is 11 months in the past to attempt to influence calls in the future. There were chapter and verse examples of missed calls from their Game 7 loss to the Warriors last year. 81 of them, according to the league's review that the Rockets studied. In all, the Rockets came up with a formula and decided it cost them 18.6 points. The game, the series, the championship, and $20 million. Some of the conclusions were twisted and made huge assumptions, as if a spreadsheet can calculate Game 7 pressure. It's why the NBA tossed the audit out, disputing the Rockets' laboratory-style methodology. The Rockets see the game as a science that can be applied to achieve expected results. Even in the highly subjective world of playoff officiating, they believe they can bend the outcomes toward their favor. Here's what the Rockets didn't say. They missed 27 consecutive three-pointers in Game 7. They shot 24 more free throws in the series. The Warriors shot a better percentage, turned the ball over less, and ultimately outscored them by 63 points over the 7 games. All of this is admirable, but it's also manipulation, an attempt to distract from the reality that Houston hasn't found a mathematic answer to stopping Kevin Durant. There probably isn't one. But the Rockets are diligent, and they'll keep it up. Why shouldn't they? Overall, it served them pretty well.
Wow. Okay, Steve Javie back with us live here on SportsCenter. And really, Steve, Daryl Morey and the Rockets, they went to great lengths to prove that the officiating was unfair. League said it disagreed with their entire methodology. Can doing something like this, almost a year later, actually help the Rockets?
Well, I think of 3 words, Sage. I'm sorry. I think of absurd, ridiculous, and it's almost laughable that even something like this is even published. I mean, 81 calls, Sage. I didn't miss that in a month's time. There's no doubt about it. And we got to think about it. I used to consult with the NBA and receive plays from teams to evaluate possible missed calls and so on during the game a couple of years ago. And you could always tell which team lost. They would send in 20 or 25 plays, and by the tone of their comments, you could tell they lost. And when evaluating myself after 25 years in the league, 90% of them, these teams are wrong. They can't be objective. When they are evaluating, they're wearing their Houston Rockets jerseys and pom-poms, and they want their team to win. They have a horse in the race. So how we give this any credibility, I just don't know.
You know, I think it's difficult, too, because you have players like Chris Paul who are known to be vocal with their complaints. And then when you add on executives and the GM, I would almost think, Steve, the human error comes into play when you're an official in the game. Can't this hurt them more than help?
Well, there's always going to be human error. The thing is, the referees know about tendencies of players, so they know when players try to fool the referees. So I really think it goes to their disadvantage.
Okay, Steve Javie with the latest on this. I know you'll be watching Game 2 as well. Thank you, Steve. Talk soon.
Ahead, Sage, after Giannis struggled in the Bucks' Game 1 loss to the Celtics, Kobe Bryant details Boston's approach to containing the Greek Freak ahead of Game 2. Plus, we welcome back Michael Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith together to get their predictions on both Game 2